Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gaming Weekly Update. Today is the very first weekly update. Now, we've been making some videos on the channel so far already, and we want to talk to you today about them, about our favourite console growing up, about our favourite video that we've done for you, an upcoming video that we have planned, and anything else that we decide to talk about. So if we can just introduce here Kieran, my guest, who is working with us on this channel.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Kieran of Gaming Weekly Update. I am the video editor and occasionally some commentary, but you know, just whatever job that fits the description at the time.
You see, here on the Gaming Weekly Update, we like to show videos of what we enjoy. So, say for example, Kieran, he's a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. He is in charge of many of the Sonic the Hedgehog videos that we've done on this channel so far. And then we've also got Mia, who likes playing Aladdin, Mario, and Power Rangers, for example. He's done some gameplay for us on those type of games. And obviously, he needs to do the gameplay because he's fully understanding the game. So it's really important that we've got someone explaining a game or showing a game that is really good at it themselves. What do you think, Kieran?
Yeah, I think it's very important, like, to be able to play a game if you know it yourselves, because if you've got the knowledge, then it makes it easier for the viewers to be able to show what we can do and what we can explain that goes on in these games, because obviously if you didn't know what the game is, or if you've never played it before, it's like, how can you explain anything about it? I mean, it just wouldn't make sense otherwise.
Exactly. So, my name is Brad, and I'm what you would say is the leader of the group, right? So I like to tell them all the time my knowledge of computers, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, right? So I have quite a few how to do with PC computer videos planned. I'm not going to spill the beans yet on exactly what they are, because I might change my mind, and that's what I do all the time, is change my mind.
This top
But
secret
another genre that I'm quite well versed in is pinball. I've played a lot of pinball on stream and on my computer off stream on many different systems and consoles, and my favorite is a recent video that I just uploaded of Adam's Family Pinball on Pinball Arcade on Steam on the PC. And Kieran can tell you a little bit about that because he's seen me play that several times.
Yeah, he plays this game a lot on his streams. Like, he plays like many different games, but he plays a lot of the ones that he enjoys. And when he plays this pinball game, it's usually always the Addams Family one. I'm not entirely sure why it's always the Addams Family, but we enjoy it because I was an Addams Family fan growing up, watching the movies and the cartoons. So it's more fun for me to watch you play that one.
So some of the other ones that we have actually played is Tales of the Arabian Nights. It's kind of based on Aladdin, but the other stories of Aladdin as well. So there's the 40 Thieves story and 7 others, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Haha. I was trying to sound intelligent there. So another game that me and Kieran have enjoyed together is a game called DX Ball. DX Ball is a modern take on some older games such as Arkanoid and Breakout and Mega Ball on the Amiga. So these original Arkanoid games were on like ZX Spectrum, C64, very old computers. And basically you hit a ball up and down from the bottom and you destroy blocks. Very simple. However, once you get shooters, fireball, 8-ball, multi-ball split, the game goes crazy. So we also have recently uploaded a video about that game, if you would like to go and check that one out. So Kieran, question for you. What is your favourite video that you've taken part in over the last 2 weeks?
Oh, that's quite a question because I do enjoy a lot of the contents that we've made, but I would have to say the favorite one that we've done so far is either the Mega Drive, the top 10 Mega Drive ones, or the top 10 Sonic Rom Hacks that we've done.
Yeah, I think when we made it, I thought that Sonic Rom Hacks video was something special. And boys and girls, if you haven't seen that video, I do suggest going and check that one out. There is some funny stuff in that video that you probably won't be expecting. It's mostly ROM hacks of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game on the Mega Drive, plus a little bit of Sonic 1 and 3 thrown in. But there's all different ways to play the game, and there's one modification, for example. Sonic, his rings have turned into onion rings, and when he eats them, he gets fat and slows down. So that one's pretty funny. That's definitely worth a watch, that one.
Yeah, that's a very fun one to record and explain because while I had to read my script for that one, I lost count how many times I had to re-record that because I kept laughing as I was recording it. So that was not an easy one to record for.
At least you don't have a dog that's barking while you're trying to record.
Well, not a very loud one anyway.
Okay, so if I was to say my favorite video, I would say that it's the Master System video, the very first one that we did, not the Mega Drive one. You've gone for Mega Drive. I would say the Master System one because we threw that together as sort of a proof of concept to see if we could work together. So what happened there was I recorded most of the video, I think, or all of it. Kieran edited the video together and I did the voiceover. This is before we had any animations, intros, outros. This was just made in one night, and I think that we did very, very well. And that is
Yeah, I
also the
mean,
video that we managed to get the most amount of comments from you guys. So we're quite happy with it.
you gotta start somewhere. So we thought because you were the leader and you liked your Master System, we thought, okay, we'll start with something that's Master System related. So
But I do
that
think
was
in the
more or less how it
future
started.
that okay, so I do think in the future that we will come back and revisit the Mega Drive and the Master System, say in a few months or in a year or so, and see if we still think that those 10 games are our top favorite. Maybe our point of view would have changed by then. Some people did mention some other games in the comments that we will have to try out. So yeah. Okay, Kieran, another question for you. Your favorite console or computer while growing up?
Favorite console growing up was probably the Sega Mega Drive, mainly because that was the very first console I ever owned. It had the very first game I ever played. And there was just a lot of memories on that one.
So,
So
would you say
yeah,
that that was the first console in your bedroom or the first console for the house TV downstairs?
very first one ever, very first one.
So, not in your bedroom.
No, in my bedroom, it was more shed like with the family. It was always in the
Shed.
living room, so it was never so it was never really belonged to anybody. It was just like a family thing that we did like as an activity. We all had games for it, and then we all played it. And Sonic happened to be one of them. And one day someone had that on, and I picked up the controller and had a little shot of it, and that was my very first experience with playing video games in general. So that's how my love for video games started.
So, did your family ever have a Sega Master System at your house?
Well, unfortunately for you, they never did. I mean, I had other families that did, but we never owned one.
Okay, so when I was small, we had two Sega Master Systems. Now, I know that sounds like greedy, right? One of them had Alex Kidd inside, like as the default BIOS game, and the other one had Sonic the Hedgehog 1 as the default BIOS game. Like you can take out the cartridge, switch it on, and it'll play that original game. You probably knew that, but maybe some of the people watching never knew that. That they didn't have that on the Mega Drive for some reason. They decided not to do that. I don't know why. Maybe it costs more for the memory for the cartridge, because I think that the 16-bit cartridges were 4 and 12 and 16 megabit cartridges, and by megabit they're talking about the amount of memory on the cartridge. So, like, to put that into perspective, I think Mario 64 was 8 megabit, although it's a 64-bit game. And then later on, one of the the Majora's Mask Zelda, that was a 64 megabit cartridge on a 64-bit system. You see where I'm saying about it's basically the storage size on the cartridge. So I do think though that Alex Kidd and Sonic 1, they're very small. They're like 128 kilobytes, which is a very small amount of memory to contain a whole game on. And that's another thing to touch on. Years and years ago, games used to be tiny. You could fit them on a cassette tape, you could fit them on a floppy disk, you could fit them on 4 floppy disks, which you're talking 4 megabytes for an entire game, right? Or 1 megabyte. Then you got CD-based games on the PlayStation. These games are huge. Some of them up to 700 megabytes filling the disk, but some of them are down to 100 megabytes on that CD. And then later you move through the PlayStation 2 with 4.7 gigabyte DVDs. So you're basically increasing by 10 every time that you go up to a different format. And then again, on the PlayStation 3 with the Blu-ray, it's up to 50 gigabytes a disc. That's crazy. Okay, so I haven't actually mentioned my favorite system growing up. I will now say that. So, my favorite system growing up is the PlayStation 1. Now, as I said, we had two Master Systems. We had two ZX Spectrums, different models. We had an Amiga 500 Plus. We had a Mega Drive. We had an N64. We had an Xbox, the original. We had PlayStation 2. we had PlayStation 3. We never had an Xbox 360. And obviously, I've had multiple PCs throughout this entire time. We also had a Commodore 64. Now, out of all of those, my favorite is the PlayStation 1. And the reason it's the PlayStation 1 is because that's the first one I had in my bedroom that I could play whenever I wanted, all night, sleep 3 or 4 hours, and then go to school. Now, I remember many times playing Gran Turismo late into the night. I remember many times playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater late into the night. And I also remember sleeping for a few hours and then instead of going to school, going out into my garden, hiding behind the shed with a pillow, and going to sleep there instead of going to school. And then when school had ended, I would come back into the house and go back on the PlayStation again without going to school. This actually
Naughty
happened.
Brad.
So that's how much I like the PlayStation. I must say that when I was a kid, I had 50 to 100 games on the PlayStation, all in this little like CD slip wallet. And you'd have all the discs in it. It'd be one of them that you open up and you can see 4 on each page, and there's discs back to back. Like, geez. They used to get quite scratched up though, but I used to take to the shop ones that I didn't like anymore or never played, trade them in, get new ones. I've played so many PlayStation 1 games, it's not even funny. Okay, Kieran, can you spill the beans on any upcoming video that you know about so far that we've talked about and planned?
We actually talked about having a top 10 Nintendo 64 game. It's actually in the works at the moment. Still got a few stuff that we need to work on with it, but that should be done hopefully soon.
Yeah, we went back a little couple of steps on that one because we found that the video was starting to become too long, and what we want to show is how fondly we remember X game, right? And what happened is we started talking too much about the particular game and less about what it meant to us and how iconic it was and what's the most fond memories of certain parts of the game that we were actually speaking about. So we're working on that and we're trying to get that video as good as possible. So it's not a case of it'll be ready in a few days. It's a case it'll be ready when we're happy with it, if you understand.
Yeah, it's like what we mentioned earlier. It's like we plan it all, we have stuff for it, and then like it's just figuring out how to get it put together is the tricky part. And like whether we're happy about it, whether like it's for the viewers, like because we want our channel to look good for them. So it's just like whatever works for us and what works for you.
Okay, so I also want to mention what type of videos we are planning to do and what videos we've already done that we would like to continue. So, for example, we've done about half of our videos are long plays, and with a long play, we don't want any talking, we don't want any crazy intro. What we want is just to show you someone playing the game that knows what they're doing from start to finish, or at least from start to finish of a section. So, for example, in our Luck Be a Landlord video, I played that game and I started the game. And once you beat the game and you've paid your 777 rent, without spoilers obviously, then it says you have beat the game, would you like to play endless mode? Now, I could show 8 hours of endless mode and it never actually comes to the credits because you have to click the credits in the game. You can't actually play to the credits, it's not possible. So I played one playthrough in that game. But other games that we've done is a couple of Master System games, a couple of SNES games, and a couple of Mega Drive games, and in those games we have played from power on until the end credits, so everyone can see every part of the game. We've tried to complete as much as we could of the game without the game getting too repetitive and too boring. So, for example, in the remake of Tomb Raider, I think it was released in 2009, if I'm correct, I might be wrong.
It was in 2013.
2013. See, Kieran is the Tomb Raider expert, so I just got owned. Anyway, so in that game, you can beat the game, you can do all the tombs, but then you can go back and you can collect loads of hidden items. And in my opinion, collecting all the hidden items, complete waste of time, in my opinion. Just playing through all of the tombs so you can see how to do all the puzzles if anyone's stuck anywhere, I think that is the equivalent of a long play of that game. So each to their own. Obviously, some games we might want to do in ultra detail, show you absolutely everything, but I'm sure that there's probably a small market for that kind of video, so we're not really going for that. So, as I said, long plays we've done quite a lot of. Top 10s on different systems, we do have several more planned. Now, we've said about Nintendo 64. I'm also going to pop in that we're going to do PlayStation 1 very soon. I'm not going to commit to a date on that one. And obviously, a big one later in the year, I would say at least 2 months away, is going to be PlayStation 2. So that's actually going to be at least a top 30, I think, on the PlayStation 2. But obviously, we'll talk about that more nearer to the time. So
Because there's so
also,
many good games.
yeah, there's loads of brilliant games on the PlayStation.
Brilliant games on that.
We will also keep you updated on any PC hardware, any consoles being released. Now, obviously, the PlayStation 5 is out now, so that's whatever. But there is Intel is going to be releasing some graphics cards either this year or the beginning of next that could shake up the computer graphics card market. Now, as you may have heard on this channel, or may not, or may hear in the future, we are huge advocates of NVIDIA graphics cards. Everybody has one, and we're not impressed at all with the kind of graphics cards that AMD have been producing. However, we have been impressed with the CPUs that AMD have been producing. So if they can make their graphics cards anything like their most recent CPUs, it's really going to help to drop prices and shake things up in the graphics card market. And Kieran here, he is looking to get a new graphics card in the future, so we should drop a video on that graphics card, run it through some games, see what kind of FPS you can get, what the visuals look like. Myself, I have the RTX 2070. It's starting to a little bit show its age. I wouldn't say that it sucks yet, but I would say that in the next 12 months it will be on its way out, and I will get something else. So there's a couple of videos there if anybody's into graphics cards. Another thing that I could do a video on is mine and Kieran's CPU, because we've got some quite special CPUs. He has the i9 9900K in his system, which is a very, very fast, very good CPU. Myself, I have, what do I have, Kieran?
You have the 8086K.
Yes, I have the limited edition i7 8086K, which is literally, they should have named it i9, but they decided not to. They decided not to. It's a very fast gaming CPU, and they only made 8086 of them. So it's a very rare CPU, but it's very fast. It does the job. But for video editing, Kieran's CPU dominates it. He can get nearly 33% more video encoding done on his CPU. So I prefer for him to do the encoding where possible on videos if I just send him portions. Because his CPU is a little bit quicker.
It's because it's got 2 extra cores and it could work those a lot better. That's more or less how that works.
So we would be looking to get CPU upgrades, maybe going for an AMD CPU in a system with a lot of cores to help with video rendering, because some of our videos, if they're 2 hours long, they can take multiple hours to render, and that's just not good enough. That's not what we want. We want to make loads of videos for you guys to watch that are quite interesting, have a few little jokes thrown in.
That has been it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and remember to hit the bell if you want to see any more content from this channel. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.